Giving all praises, or all the praises in heaven and earth goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Hawashai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. Yahweh is the name of the Most High, the one true living God. And Yahweh Shai is the name of the one who the world intimately calls Jesus Christ, right? I give double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth for the spirit and inspiration of Yahweh Ba'ashem Hawashai. And I give salutations to all the brothers and believing sisters that's in this truth and sincerity and in continual diligence. Do this little video because basically like what's going on over there in the USA, United States of America, as we who are spiritual know that that's Babylon the Great, the land of our captivity, in which its judgment is to receive of fire and brimstone. But leading up to that event of America being destroyed by nuclear flames, the Most High is plaguing that land, right? And one of the many plagues that the Most High is bringing upon Babylon the Great, America, is drought. Drought is a mega drought that scientists are pretty much stating is happening in the United States of America. And it's basically these droughts and wildfires have cost the United States of America $366 billion in the past 40 years. Okay? So there's actually been a lengthy thing that's been happening for a while. It's not just a thing that's happened within the course of this year. It's been something that's been happening for the past few decades. All right, and this is the second worst drought in 1,200 years they say due to climate change, right? And 60% of the southwestern USA is under severe extreme drought. So you're talking about Mexico, Colorado, Las Vegas, right? California. So this is soil moisture content is the driest in 120 years. So soil moisture vegetation is driest it's been in over 120 years. The records go back to 120 years, so it could be a lot longer than that. Lake Mead is at 40% capacity of water supply. So wow, so that means it's not even at half its capacity of water supply. So the drought is causing certain major lakes and certain rivers to dry up, man. You see what I'm saying? So, and then you got the mountain snowpacks is basically, and then there's something called the snowpacks, right? The snow that's in the mountains. That's very important. It's a key component of the water cycle in the western United States of America, right? Storing water in the winter when the snow falls and releasing it in spring and early summer when it melts. All right, so this is the snow in the mountains. This is an important water cycle in the USA, right? Higher temperatures in spring can cause snow to melt earlier, right? Snowpacks are important water resource that feeds streams, rivers as they melt. Therefore, they are both the drinking water source and also agriculture and gardening source for many communities. Fresh, clean water appears to be one of the prime shortages facing humanity today, and this problem will only get worse in the future, right? A reservoir near Las Vegas is approaching a point that will result in its first ever shortage declaration by the federal government. This will lead to cuts in water deliveries to Arizona, Nevada, and Mexico. So a severe cuts in water deliveries to certain states in America, in the western part of America. So that's going to affect the American people. Do you understand? Water is important, man. Water is very important. Fresh, clean, drinkable water. Water that you use to wash yourself, to clean your clothes. Do you understand? That's one of the many important functions of that people need to function, to live a quality life. This is Ecclesiasticus 39, verse 26. Start from verse 24. As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked. For the good are good things created from the beginning, so evil things for sinners. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil, and clothing. So the main use of a man's life, first on the list, was water. And then everything followed down, like fire, iron, salt, flour of wheat, honey, so forth and so on, and clothing. How are you gonna keep your clothes clean if you can't even wash them? There's no clean water to wash them. 75% of the body is made up of water, man. You need water. So that's gonna pretty much put the people in a very beggarly, desperate situation where they're gonna add pressure onto their government to be supplied with these needs, man. Do you get what I mean? But I want to go into the spiritual aspect of it and everything, right? After I've, done detailing this. So it says, Colorado river streams are shrinking due to the drought. Wildfires, dying crops, shrinking water supply due to the drought means grazing lands are parched, right? Leading some ranchers or farmers to sell off their cattle and reduce their herds. And we all know that Kill Gates of Hell, he's buying up a lot of the farms from a lot of the farmers, a lot of the farms throughout the United States of America. Kill Gates, he's basically buying a lot of their farms, man. So in this drought, that's pretty much playing pretty much for the good of the elite, for the elites, man. That's just helping them and their agenda. What's the use of the farmers holding onto their farms if the drought is just fucking up their shit? Excuse my French. That's just gonna work out for the furtherance of Kill Gates and the people that he's dealing with and their agenda, man, which is to take control over the resources and agriculture, because they want people in desperation. And this is all working towards the Great Reset, man. There's all factors contributing to the Great Reset. You understand? This is all also coupled together with the fact that lockdowns. Okay, again, this is harsh weather conditions. Shortages of certain materials, vital materials like plastics, because certain branches that produce plastics in the United States of America, they've been shut down due to the freezing in Texas. Because I believe Texas, that's the biggest manufacturer of plastic state in the whole world, man. And because of that whole snowstorm, it's kind of messed up their whole manufacturing of that product. Okay? And obviously America relies on plastic. Use plastic in it, basically everything. You get what I'm saying? So that's fucked. And then America's relying on, I believe it's 40% of imports from other countries, mainly China. And China, there's a shortage of containers. There's a shortage of containers because a lot of the containers that they use to ship certain products abroad and stuff like that, those containers come from China. And a lot of those factories have been shut down because of the lockdowns. All right. a lot of people lost their job, unemployment in those sectors. You see what I'm saying? So basically, a lot of Americans are relying on products that are imported now. So that's going to raise transport prices. Do you get what I'm saying? So all of this is just leading up to a whole resetting of the order that is now. You know what I'm saying? Because this order that's happened, the system that's working now is obviously not working, man. So let me just detail some more. Drought and other factors likely to lead to citizens begging for water from private companies and the government. Water is one more casualty of, like I said, the Great Reset. You can survive up to 3 weeks without food, but you can only survive for 3 days without water. Do you get what I'm saying? So this is Psalm 107, verse 31. Oh, that men would praise Yahweh for his goodness and for his wonderful works to the children of men. Is America doing that? America is not giving praise unto the Most High. America says it's a God-fearing country, but then if you look at America, actually America is promoting the philosophies of Aleister Crowley and his New Age religion of Thelema, which involves doing as thou wilt. When you go inside the scriptures, the Holy Bible, which America should be promoting, because they say it's a God-fearing land, right, or country, the scriptures say that, says this. Let me get it real quick. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear, and let me start verse 12. And further, by these my son be admonished, for making many books there is no end, and much study is the weariness of the flesh, right? Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Now, how do you fear the Most High? You fear the Most High by keeping his word, by executing his justices and his judgments. Because you don't want to, the scripture says it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, man. All right. Right, Hebrews, I'll just open it over straight to the scripture. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 31. Let me start with verse 30. For we know him that have said, vengeance belongeth unto me. I will recompense, saith the Lord. And again, the Lord shall judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Right? It's a fearful thing. So to avoid falling into the hands of the great and dreaded Yahweh, the one true living entity, the one true living God of all the ends of the earth, to avoid judgment, you know what I'm saying? To avoid his wrath and indignation, you keep his word. You keep his commandments. The Most High has commanded man to keep laws and commandments. Really the Israelites, but the so-called white man, the Most High has given power into his hands to rule over all peoples, right? Let me get this real quick. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 1. Hear therefore, O ye kings, and understand. Learn, ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. Right? That's the heathens, but mainly so-called Esau. So you can understand. Right? Give ear, ye that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations. For power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels. But the counsels of the wicked are what? Deceit. It tells you that in Proverbs. Right? Let me get it real quickly. Right? Bear with me for 1 sec. This is Proverbs chapter 12, verse 5. The thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the wicked are deceit. Right? So the Lord is going to search out your counsels and find that your counsels have been deceit. And that's one of the many abominations that the Most High hates, is a lying tongue. So the scripture says, Wisdom of Solomon 6, verse 5, for power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels. Right? Because what it says is that the enemies of the Most High have taken crafty counsel against the Lord's anointed, which is us. And what they say in the scripture says, he who toucheth us has touched the apple of the Most High's eye. So Esau and the other nations, they're in for a bad one, because they've taken crafty counsel against us to cut off our identity from the earth. That our very identity will be no more in remembrance. People will know who we are. People will refer to us as black people, Spics, Latinas, Jamaicans, Negroes, niggers. And Esau's majority of it is partially, he's responsible for that. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we transgress the Most High's laws and commandments. That's why the Most High put the spirit upon these heathens to rule over us. But a large part of the whole world being ignorant to who we are, that's largely due to Esau, man, and his deceptions, his counsels of deceit. But now, verse 4, back in Wisdom of Solomon 6, verse 4, because being ministers of his kingdom, the word minister means a servant. Okay? So Esau is a servant of the Most High. On the left-hand side, he's the wicked. He's doing the works of the Most High. He's doing the will of the Most High by bringing wickedness into the earth, really, on a deeper level. Because being ministers of his kingdom, ye have not judged aright, nor kept the law, nor walked after the counsel of God. Horribly and speedily shall he come upon you, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places. What did it say? That there's spiritual wickedness in high places, man, in Ephesians, the 6th chapter. The rulers of the darkness of this world. You know what I'm saying? For mercy will soon pardon the meanest, but mighty men shall be mightily tormented. For he which is Lord over all shall fear no man's person, neither shall he stand in awe of any man's greatness. For ye have made the small and the great, and careth for all alike. But a sore trial shall come upon the mighty. Right? That's right. Sore trial shall come upon the mighty, man. So let's go back to Psalms 107, verse 31. Oh, that men would praise Yahweh for his goodness and for his wonderful works to the children of men. But the Most High's name is nowhere to be found but in Jacob. So it's not in Esau's spirit to call upon the name of the Most High, even though he knows the name of the Most High, but he's not going to call upon him. Because according to our records, Esau knows that he's condemned, that the Most High has condemned him. That's Esau's portion, to be the wicked and ultimately to be brought to the day of destruction. You know, what does it say in Proverbs? I created the wicked for the day of evil. So it says, verse 32, let them exalt him also in the congregation of the people and praise him in the assembly of the elders. Who's doing that? Us, the prophets. Not even the 2/3 of our people, because they've been deceived by the spirit of witchcraft of this world. Okay, they've been deceived the Most High used Esau to bring a strong delusion upon the majority of our people that they should believe lies. Walking in a way that's ultimately going to lead to their destruction, right? So it says, he turneth rivers into a wilderness, and the water springs into dry ground, right? Because that's what's happening in the western, the southwestern states of the United States of America. Certain great rivers and are drying up. what did it say? It said that Lake Mead is at 40% of full water supply capacity, man. Meaning it's supposed to be a lot higher than that. It's only at 40% of its water supply. So a lot of the water is the harsh weather, the high temperatures is causing a lot of the water in the lakes and the rivers to evaporate, man. And there's hardly any rain. You know what I'm saying? Rain is very important. Even though, like, you know, I do like summertime, especially because we're in London and there's raining a lot of the time, especially during like winter times. Rain is very important. I like summertime. I like the heat, you know, because I'm broke as fuck. So I can't really travel out and, you know, spend my winter time in like places probably like Jamaica or whatnot to get some more heat, because I like to get that tan, you feel what I'm saying? But you know, we're stuck in London, and rain can be very irritating, especially if you want to go somewhere. You know, you got to put on kind of like a rain jacket. You want to dress up nicely, you get what I'm saying? But rain is very important, man. Water, that's what I said, the main use for a man's life is water. So rain is very important, man. You get what I'm saying? And water can be very destructive, okay? Because the Most High used water to flood the earth. He used rain to flood the whole earth. You get what I'm saying? The Most High used rain to flood the earth. That was the curse that the Most High used to destroy the old world. You get what I'm saying? So this is Second Timothy, this is 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 5, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. You hear that? That's right. So it said, chapter 3, same epistle, chapter 3, verse 5, for this they are willingly ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. What's that talking about? Talking about standing out of the water, talking about the oceans, because the earth is separate from the waters, the oceans. But at the same time, the earth is also in the waters, talking about the water you see around us. Okay? H2O. The waters, man. Okay? That's why our body, water leaves our very skin. That's why we gotta hydrate ourselves. Do you understand? So, verse 6, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. So water is very useful to a man's life, but at the same time it can be used for destruction. The Most High can use that very same element to destroy man and to destroy life. You understand? Like for like water, like grass, for example, or flowers, it needs water, right? But if you put too much water on it, you can destroy it. So there's balance. Right? So it says, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire, against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. Right? But the Most High created the rainbow as a sign that the Most High would never use water to destroy the earth again. Do you understand? That was why the rainbow was invented. The Most High had that created, the rainbow. Excuse me. This is There's Ecclesiasticus 43 verse 9. The beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, the ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. At the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order and never faint in their watches. Okay? Because you got different stars in the firmament, man, in our space. Right? Look upon the rainbow and praise him that made it. Very beautiful it is in the brightness thereof. It compasseth the heaven about with a glorious circle, and the hands of the Most High have bended it. Right? That's right. And the rainbow was created as a sign, like I said, that the Most High would never use water to flood the earth again. But what is Esau doing? What is the wicked doing? He's using it for a gay pride symbol, man. He's using it in his little occultic, paganistic circles, man. Do you understand? That's what the wicked is doing. So that which the Most High created for a sign and a signet for mankind, his promise to mankind, Esau's now taking that very signet and using it for his demonic spiritual circles. You know. So that's right. That's right. So let's go back to Psalms 107 verse 33. He turneth rivers into a wilderness, and the water springs into dry ground. A fruitful land into barrenness, for the wickedness of them that dwell therein. You hear that? It says a fruitful land into barrenness for the wickedness of them that dwell therein. So showing you that the Most High's plaguing America because of the wickedness of them that dwell therein in that land. The Bible is actually detailing to you why the Most High is bringing these occurrences, these plagues. Okay? Because the scriptures tell you this. This is 2nd Ezra 15 verse of, let me start from verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. The word incredulity means unbelief. Right? For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, right? And their hurtful works are fulfilled. So that's why the Lord is bringing these plagues. One of the many plagues was famine. And the word famine means a severe scarcity of food. And food like wheat, corn, all right, that all comes from the ground, right? It comes from the ground. And in order for the earth to produce corn and wheat and other, ground-based foods, there needs to be water, there needs to be rainfall, there needs to be a moist ground, a fertile ground for these foods to grow. So if the Most High don't send rain, what's that going to cause? Famine. That's going to cause the ground to be parched, especially when the temperatures are rising, especially during summertime, because that's the season we're approaching now, summertime. Spring is now ending and we're approaching summer. So the wet season pretty much is over for the most part. And even during the wet season, during winter time, they were even saying that it wasn't even really wet. So that's just adding more fuel to the drought, man. You understand? And by the fact that the snow in the mountains, the snowpacks is melting, you know, what did it say? So basically it's saying that there's not the snowpacks are melting. There's no more there's hardly any snow. There's a limited supply of snowpacks in the mountains. And the snow during like springtime, it melts especially during spring, summer, it melts and goes into the rivers, into the streams, and that's how you get your water supply. And America uses that water supply for the communities, for the people, for, you know, agriculture, for gardening, for drinking water. And obviously, if there's no snowpacks in the mountains, then that's going to heavily affect the inhabitants of America. That's going to affect everything pretty much without water. You know what I'm saying? So so let me read that again. Verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So, man, famine can cause death. That's death, right? This is 2 Ezra 16, verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So the Lord is bringing this drought to balance everything out as punishment because of the wickedness of them that dwell therein. So what is the wages of wickedness? What's the wages of sin, of transgression, of ill behavior, of immorality, of disobedience to the Most High's laws and word and commandments? What's the wages? What's the reward for all that? Death, famine. Death, famine, and all these plagues, the Most High sending these spirits to amend the evil of the people that they've been sowing, man. So they got to reap these plagues. You understand? So, right. And famine, man, when there's hardly any water, it's difficult to live in a clean environment, man. You need water to clean the filth, you know, of the streets. You need water to clean shit, man. So without water, that's an unclean environment. Smelly, stinky, you know. And that's gonna cause, you know, infections, diseases in itself, man. So that's right. So right. So all these plagues are gonna come. So this is let me start from verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. You see what I'm saying? So Texas was mourning because of the plagues that the Most High sent upon it. The great freeze that's never been recorded in the history of Texas. Unbelievable snow conditions, freezed over a lot of you know, the environment, man. So people couldn't travel. That affected business. Shut down a lot of branches. Like I said, the world's biggest manufacturer for plastic, that's found in Texas, America. So that affected even that. I think it was 15% of branches had to shut down because of it. So you got wildfires, man. Earthquakes. So it said, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn. They that till the ground shall mourn. Why? Because it's drought, no rain. They that who tills the ground? Farmers. Ranchers, man. They need a fertile ground, you know what I'm saying, for their cattle to graze in, man. So a lot of farmers are going to have to sell off their farms, sell off their herds, you know. So it says, they that till the ground shall mourn, and their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. So farmers are going to get jacked up. Their whole business is going to get jacked up because of the plagues that the Most High is bringing. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, for the lack of food, man. Okay, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Right, because when people enter desperation, they do desperate things. Desperate people do desperate things, man. That's why I said that the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. For the lack of bread, lack of food, man. Lack of food. Because if you see what's happening in America, a lot of stores, they're running short. There's shortages of certain products because of the lockdowns, because of you know, the delay in certain shipments, the delay of certain imported goods and foods, like the Suez Canal blockage. Okay, and that held up a lot of goods being imported. Right, this drought is fucking shit up. Excuse my language. I'm not the best of speakers, but I'm just trying to get this info out. All right, that's right. So let me go back to Psalms 107, verse 34. A fruitful land into barrenness, for the wickedness of them that dwell therein. He turneth the wilderness, into a standing water. So the Most High can bring rain and water the earth, and turn a wilderness into standing water, and dry ground into water springs. And there he maketh the hungry to dwell, that they may prepare a city for habitation. So people rely upon these things, rely upon fertile grounds. People rely upon rain, water. You know, you set up communities near rivers, near water, so you can feed your herds, so you can feed your children, so you can feed your people, that you can clean yourself, you know what I mean? So, and there he maketh the hungry to dwell, that they may prepare a city for habitation, and sow the fields, and plant vineyards, which may yield fruits of increase. He blesseth them also, so that they are multiplied greatly, and suffereth not their cattle to decrease. You see? So all this is a result of water. And that water comes down from the heavens, has come by the Most High. Right. Bear me for a sec. This is Psalms 104. Let me start from verse 5. Right? Who laid the foundations of the earth that should not be removed forever. This is the Most High. The Most High laid the foundations of the earth that should not be removed forever, right? Thou coverest it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains. What's the waters? Talking about the firmament. The skies. Why do you think the skies is blue? The skies is a reflection of the oceans. At thy rebuke they fled, at the voice of thy thunder they hasted away. They go up by the mountains, they go down by the valleys, unto the place which thou hast founded for them. Talking about the waters. And what's by a lot of the mountains? Snow. What is snow? Water. Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over. Talking about the oceans. The oceans can't pass that decree at the seashore. Right? Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth. He sendeth the springs into the valleys, which run among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field. The wild asses quench their thirst. By them shall the fowls of the heaven have their habitation, which sing among the branches. Right? Where do trees, how do trees grow? By the river, by water. And who nests in the branches of those trees? The birds, man. The different species of birds. Certain beasts set their habitation in the trees, man. You got certain animals, man, that depend on water, man. That all animals depend on water. Like Africa, like when, like, there's drought, like harsh, high temperatures, the certain animals, they migrate. They gotta migrate and look for that water. Certain mammals, certain herbivores, like wildebeest, zebra, okay, elephants, giraffes, they all gotta follow the water. And who follows those herbivores? The carnivores, the predators, like the lions, the cheetahs, the leopards. They all gotta follow those impala and gazelles, the different species of herbivore. You know what I mean? So this is verse 13. He watereth the hills from his chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man. So if there's no water, how can the herbs grow? Certain herbs that man uses to heal his body, you know what I mean? To detox himself, to clear out his bloodstream, to build up his immune system. How can man get herbs if there's no rain? Right? So it says, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. Right? And wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart. Right? Wine, where does wine come from? Grapes. How do you get grapes? By planting vineyards, man. And that can only happen and increase through rain. Right? Wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine. You get oil from where? It depends on the type of a product. Because if you talk about olive oil, you get olive oil from olives. From olive trees. You know? Sesame seed oil. Pumpkin seed oil. What else? Different oils, man, that you can get from seeds. And seeds, you get seeds from the earth, man. Do you get what I'm saying? So it says, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart. Bread, you get that from wheat. Wheat, you grow that in the earth yet again. Right? The trees of Yahweh are full of sap, the cedars of Lebanon which he hath planted, where the birds make their nests. As for the stork, the fir trees are her house. The high hills are a refuge for the wild goats, and the rocks for the conies. Yeah. So pretty much that's the whole point. So all this water, that's of the Lord, man. And without water, everything is affected. Hold on, let me there's some other scriptures. This is Ecclesiastes 1, verse 7. Let me start from verse 5. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about to the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea. Yeah, all the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Why is the sea never full? Because of evaporation. The clouds, man. The clouds is what? Water. Evaporated water. Right? So it says, the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, right? Thither they return again. So that whole cycle. They run into the sea, evaporation, they rain down into the mountains, into the valleys, into the streams, and then they go back into the seas again, man. And that's the whole cycle that the Most High has created. Okay? That's right. That's right, man. Bear me for one sec. Bear me for one sec. This is hold on. What's this? Hold on, bear me for one sec. 11. So this is Deuteronomy 11 verse 13. Right? And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love Yahweh your God, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in thy corn and thy wine and thine oil. And I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, that thou mayest eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and you turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. That's what America is doing. What's the God of America? The spiritual demon Satan, man, in all his forms. I did a video about it talking about indirect idolatry. Because that's pretty much what's happening in the world, really. Because everybody's, if you're not worshipping Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai, the idols that you're worshipping are devils. And the spiritual demon Satan has many names. Has many titles, man. The same way the Most High has many titles, but he has one name. Satan is being worshipped in many different forms. And this is why the Most High is bringing plagues upon America, because people are going about after their own covetous, and covetousness is a form of idolatry. Right? Right, so it says, take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. And then Yahweh's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, and lest ye perish quickly from off the good land which Yahweh giveth you. That's why I said there's going to be famine and great death, because of the wickedness of them that dwell therein in that land. That's right. Right. Job 37. Job 37. Bear me for a sec. I'm gonna wrap it up. Just give me a few more scriptures, then end it. Job 37 verse 5. The Most High thundereth marvelously with his voice. Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend. For he saith to the snow, be thou on earth, likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. All right? That's right. But the Most High, what's he doing to the snow in America, in the mountains? He's diminishing the snow. So people have no water supply in the rivers, man. In the main rivers that they use for their water supply. The Most High has taken that away from the people. Right? So, this is Job 36 and 27. For he maketh small the drops of water, they pour down rain according to the vapor thereof, which the clouds do drop and distill upon man abundantly. Right. So this is Zechariah 14. Zechariah 14. This is verse 17. Let me start with verse 16. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the feast of tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not that have no rain, there shall be the plague, whereof Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. Right. That's right, man. That's pretty much it. Yeah. I just wanted to make this video as a news report and an edifying video to show that the drought that America's experienced is like a historic drought that hasn't been in the last 1400 years. The second worst drought in the past 1400 years, according to American scientists. And I just want to make this video to let the people know that, listen, this is from the Most High. The Most High is angry with the wicked every day, and that's why these plagues are coming as an amendment. And with that, Shalom.